Holy buckets, it is hard to believe, but we are only 3 weeks, just over 3 weeks away from the release of the next Japanese set, Terrestrial Festival. And if you don't know, Terrestrial Festival is actually the cards in Japan that are going to make up our Prismatic Evolution set. So all that hype beast that's going on right now when it comes to Prismatic Evolution, coming out in January, all those EV SIR cards, the EV hat cards, like that is all going to be coming out in Terrestrial Festival, which releases in Japan on December 6th. We do have booster boxes. I loaded up the rest of them. Available for pre-order. So whatever is left, I put up there. These should ship to us on December 6th, putting them in our hands on December 9th, and then we'll get them out right away, send them off to you. This is a high-class set. Basically what that means is every single booster pack is going to contain at least one ultra rare. You only get 10 packs in the booster box, but at least one ultra rare. So we do have pre-orders right now. Also, right now, still don't buy 151. This is getting reprinted, I think, this weekend already, and prices should start coming down a little bit, but nothing is solid. It doesn't seem like the reprint is going to be as big as what we had hoped for, but you can expect that to drop down a little bit. You can go to kurosyoshop.com. We have a lot of really cool stuff on here. Japanese Pokemon booster boxes, Japanese plush, a bunch of different plush, blind boxes, things like that. I'll drop a link in the description below for the Terrestrial Festival pre-order if you so choose. If you don't want to buy any of that stuff, obviously don't feel obligated whatsoever. This is just Fanny selling out prior to the video starting like normal. We're going to jump into things, and right now Pokemon is nuts. We've talked about this before. Actually, I'm not ready to do this. Let's look at my ugly mug first. Pokemon is nuts right now. We've talked about this. Like, obviously, everywhere you go on YouTube right now, any Pokemon card content creators, they're talking about the hype, and that it's real. Like, it is absolutely crazy. You look at booster boxes for Surging Sparks, the most recent Pokemon card set, and we'll talk about Surging Sparks, the price drops, a little bit more tomorrow. We just dropped the video a couple days ago going over what you can expect to pull from your Surging Sparks booster box. As far as value goes, it's not great because there has been so much that is open, but the sealed product continues to climb. You're looking at booster boxes for Surging Sparks over 170 right now, which is above MSRP. We have not had that happen in ages, and there's already a lot of people talking about 151 as we've had all these issues at Costco with people knocking each other over. It's been absolutely madness. Don't get into that. Don't do that. Don't be a part of that. It's just, it's bad for the hobby. It looks really bad. People scrambling left and right to get Prismatic Evolutions pre-orders in. Obviously, GameStop and Target just dropped a bunch of them. We haven't dropped any of them yet. We have not dropped any of them yet because we don't have allocation information, and until we get that, we're not putting any of it out there, but we will put them up. If you're not in our Discord, I will leave a link for that in the description down below. Join our Discord. I will let everybody know as soon as I plan on putting up Prismatic Evolution. We're sticking to MSRP. We're not going anywhere above that. That is just nope, not doing it. I'm not going to talk about that. I'm just going to talk about the boom and what you can do to save money, because right now it's nuts. And I know not everybody wants to be a Pokemon card seller, and you shouldn't have to be, but there are cards in your collection right now that are doing you no good. They are doubles, they are triplicates, they are bulk cards, they are sitting there in a box. They have value, enough value to buy you a Surging Sparks booster pack, and it's just sitting there. And you need to take advantage of it. As the Pokemon card industry continues to boom, and people are really focused on all the upcoming sets for next year, and there's a lot of hype behind it, it's important, if you're really passionate about it, to make sure you do your job to grow your collection smartly. Like, you don't want to make bad decisions. When you do that, you get frustrated and you leave the hobby. You start tracking your collection, you're like, wow, as things simmer down and things settle down, which we will hit a retrace again eventually, it will happen, then you start getting frustrated because you're like, well, I overspent on this, I FOMO'd on this. Be smart about it all. I understand that there's a lot of people who are struggling to find Surging Sparks products in retail stores and things like that. They are out there. You can find them out there. You just have to be patient. You have to look around, wait for restocks. Obviously, there's some killer Black Friday deals that are coming up. Just be patient, but make the best decisions when it comes to your collection dollars. I own a storefront, and I want you to make sure that you don't overspend, even if that means not buying from me. Like, honestly, sincerely, truly, I cannot emphasize this enough. I would rather go out of business. This sounds super dumb and cliche, and you can probably just be like, hey, Fanny, you're lying. I would rather go out of business and have you guys stay in the hobby. This is all going to come to an end at one point eventually anyways. So I would honestly, I'm just enjoying the ride, and you should too. Like, seriously, I don't know why that rant started, but let's jump into things. There are a lot of cards that you have probably laying around that you should take advantage of. Whether that means opening up your own eBay store or opening up your own TCG Player account, I should say eBay account. You don't need to open up an eBay store. And we'll talk about the fees and stuff associated with that at the end of the video a little bit, just kind of touch on things. Or that means signing up for some social media and using social media websites like Facebook or TikTok or Twitter or Instagram or X or Discord. There's a lot of places where you can turn around, you can sell your extra cards or trade your extra cards to different people who are actually going to use them. And that's a great way to kind of help the market out because it puts more supply on the market. It brings the cost down, especially for a lot of competitive players who want to play the game. And then it helps people finish off their collection by adding additional singles and stuff like that. Obviously, a perfect example right away, and we're going to go through a bunch of them very quickly. Prime Catcher is a perfect example. This card is going to fall. It is already falling. It is already down to $18.38. This video is probably coming out a couple days after I actually put this slideshow together. But there is a Charizard battle deck that releases this upcoming Friday that has this card in it. That Charizard battle deck is $29.99 MSRP, and you can find it online for significantly cheaper than that. It's basically like a ready-to-go, custom-built deck that you can bring to an event, and it is already competitive. Why is it competitive? Well, it has top tier cards in it, cards that everybody plays in their competitive deck, like this Prime Catcher right here, which is a perfect example of probably the most played A-Spec in format, and that's why it is selling for $18.38. But you can see it was a $30 card a couple months ago, and now it has started to trail off. There's still 29 of them being sold on a daily basis. You can see there's a lot that have sold on TCG Player on the right-hand side there. That's just a snapshot of how the market has moved over the past 6 months when it comes to this Prime Catcher. And if you sell more, if you have a little bit extra, let's say you have maybe 4 or 5 lying around, they're actually worth a little bit more selling in playsets. Now, it's not going to be so much with the A-Specs because you can only play one in your deck anyways, but you do see a little bit of a premium every once in a while on something that you have a playset of. So Prime Catcher is included in every single battle deck. It's going to continue to fall down. If you have extras lying around, now is really the time that you want to move off of them. Trade them off, sell them off, and if you're not somebody who wants to get in sales, like, don't do that. Just trade them. There's plenty of groups on Facebook, on X, on Discord, like all over the place, Reddit, where you can find people who actually want this card, and if they're willing to give you 70% of the value for this, if it's just sitting there, in a box, or sitting there as a duplicate or a triplicate in your binder, and you're like, wow, I really want to get that Durant EX special illustration rare, or that Drayton EX special illustration rare from Surging Sparks, this is basically an even trade. Like, you are at a point right now where Prime Catcher is still worth a lot of special illustration rares. The difference is the pull rate on this is much more attractive than the pull rate on a special illustration rare. So make your collection work for you and work smarter, not working harder. So Prime Catcher is one of them. The Mew EX, if you opened up any ultra premium collections from 151, this card is insane right now. Not just because of the artwork, also because of its competitive playability. Yeah, the artwork is great, and this card probably will continue to climb. We compared this to the Moltres and Zapdos and Articuno promo card from Hidden Fates. Obviously, that card's selling for about $20, $21, $22. This card definitely has the potential of getting to that point, but right now it's at $13.42. So if you're somebody who took advantage of TikTok deals and things like that when the 151 premium collection originally came out, and you still have a bunch of sealed copies of these, you're looking at $13 a piece for them right now. And it's moving on TCG Player. You can see 4,700 of them sold over the past 6 months. It's averaging about 26 sales every single day. You do get a bit of a premium. Look, $15.99 if you have a playset, $16.50 if you have a playset. So there's a bit of a premium if you have more than 4 copies available, and continuing to climb because of its playability and because people love the promo card so much. So if you were somebody who opened up a bunch of these and you were just opening up packs and you kind of stuck the promos, I understand. If it's something you love and you want a binder full of these things, obviously don't trade them off. But if it's not doing you any good and your goal is to find sealed product or find packs to crack at a discounted rate, moving these off and bringing down that average price of whatever you're buying, a booster box or an Elite Trainer box. Let's say you want to buy a Surging Sparks Elite Trainer box, or you want to buy a Prismatic Evolutions Elite Trainer box. Go to your LGS, show them that you have a few of these, and offer to use some trading credit. Maybe putting in a pre-order. Let's say that your LGS is like, well, I'm going to scalp the heck out of these Prismatic Evolutions ETBs. I'm going to charge $60. Well, you give them 2 of these, and that brings it down, let's say, another $20. All of a sudden, that ETB is $40 instead of $60. So just be smarter with it. Obviously, this is another example that you can have. Here's the Mew EX, the regular art. This was not only in 151, this was also in the Gardevoir EX battle decks that came out. So you have multiple options to buy copies of these. This one continues to climb. You can see up almost 55% over the past 3 months. months. Average sold on TCG Player, you're looking at about 14 every day, almost 2,600 that have sold over the past 6 months. You're looking at about $6.70 or so. Not so much of a premium on this one for buying a playset, but again, a very competitive card that you might have multiple copies of that are doing you no good sitting in a bulk box or sitting in a bulk binder. I'm telling you, once these cards rotate out, and you're not going to have to worry about this rotating for over a year yet. Like, this is going to be around in the format for a while. So yeah, there's still possibility that it could climb a little bit more, but eventually it is going to go down. It is going to go down to basically a bulk EX, or it might be a couple dollars a piece. Really, you want to take advantage of when it's just sitting around, not doing you any favors. It's time to move off of it and add to your collection, so that, especially during this period of time when Pokemon is getting out of control for a lot of people, spending wise, they're trying to budget themselves, make the best decisions when it comes to spending your collection dollars. Moving off of these to bring down the price of some of those more expensive cards or more expensive products is really important. Here's Pheasantipity. Is from one of our more recent sets, Shrouded Fable. This came out August of 2024. So Pheasantipity, another very, very playable card. Kind of starting to go down a little bit. Not much, down about 28%, but most of that is after its pre-order pricing in the beginning of August. It dropped down in September, then went up a little bit, and it's been kind of flat over the past couple months. But this is because of its flip the script ability, a very competitive card. It's moving like crazy on TCG Player. You can see average daily sold, about 77 of them, over 7,000 of them that have been sold over the past 3 months on TCG Player. You can see a little bit of a premium, $9.29 plus shipping for somebody who has 7 of them. Then Amazing Discoveries has 10 copies, $10.72, and that's for an LP one. So if you have extra copies of these lying around, now is really the time to move off of them. I've even recommended to people, if you have just a singular copy and it's sitting in your master set, this will fall. It will become a bulk EX eventually. It may be a year and a half before it becomes a bulk EX, but it's going to fall eventually, and it's not doing you any favors by just sitting in your binder when you could be taking advantage of that little extra value in order to put back into your collection and bring down the price on some of those other cards. Here's Teal Mask Ogre Pond. This is a big one because we do have a collection box that's releasing this upcoming Friday. So we have the Teal Mask Ogre Pond EX Premium Collection Box. Now I know it's a different card as far as the artwork goes, but it has the same ability, same attack, and that is just going to add more of this card into the market, and that is going to continue to make this card fall a little bit more in price and a little bit more in price. It's down already almost 18% over the past 3 months, but still very playable in competitive play. You can see still moves really well on TCG Player, about 68 being sold on a daily basis, over 6,200 sold in the past 3 months. Definitely a premium if you have more than a playset available. The Card Haven has 8 of them available. They get an extra dollar. Mystic TCG, same thing. They have 20 available. They get an extra dollar per copy because they have a playset available. A lot of competitive players want to buy and buy the playset versus just single individual cards. $7.91 for a regular art EX. That is more expensive than every single full art in Surging Sparks, except for the Pikachu Full Art Terra. Everything else is less expensive than this Teal Mask Ogre Pond. So if you have extras of these, now's really the time. You really want to trade them off, make your collection work for you. Same thing with the Terrapagos EX. This has fallen a lot. It's not doing as well in competitive play as what people had hoped for. There's still room for it, and there's still time for it, and that's why it's still moving very well. 63 of them being sold on a daily basis. You're looking at about 5,700, almost 5,800 sold over the past 3 months. That Terrapagos EX premium collection, that special ultra premium collection, is supposed to be coming out after getting delayed. That should be out in a couple weeks. That's going to cause this to drop even more as people open that up, and it adds more of the same attack to the market. It's going to continue to just bring the price down more and more. You can see it's already down to $6.80, but still, again, more expensive than every single full art in Surging Sparks, with the exception of that full art Terra Pikachu. So $6.80 right now. If you have extras of those, now is really time to move off of them. Iron Hands starting to rebound a little bit as it does better in competitive play. Only about 22 of them sold on a daily basis on TCG Player, but you're still looking at almost 4,100 that have sold over the past 6 months. Pretty much level as far as if you've got a playset or not. Looking at about $8.61. It is down, but it is up a couple dollars from where it was in October. So as long as this card continues to perform well in competitive play, if you have extras of these, obviously there's a lot of hype behind Paradox Rift right now. If you have extras of these lying around, now it's time to move off of those. Pidgeot EX, this is another important one because this is also going to be in that Charizard battle deck that we were just talking about, and it's been relatively flat over the past few months with that quick search ability, selling about 15 on a daily basis on TCG Player. You're looking at 2,800 that have sold over the past 6 months. That quick search ability is such a big factor in competitive play. You do get a little bit of a premium as long as you have more than a playset, sitting at $7.95 right now. Very, very good price point. Again, more expensive than every full art in Surging Sparks with the exception of that full art Terra Pikachu. Then we've got the Raging Bolt EX, as this does better in competitive play. We'll see what happens with Banette EX, but Raging Bolt EX still doing very well in competitive play. It's up to about $5 right now per copy, and it's moving fairly well. 42 being sold on a daily basis on TCG Player, almost 7,800 that have sold over the past 6 months. So you get a little bit of a premium if you have more than 4 available, and continuing to move in that upward direction. Again, these are just regular art EXs, ultras that maybe you have duplicates of as you continue to open up product and look for those special illustration rares or illustration rares. These ones you might be just kind of putting into boxes or putting into your binder and forgetting about it, and you might have extra copies of them, just like this Dragapult EX, which is up about 27%. Not a lot of value behind this, but it's definitely worth more than a bulk EX right now, sitting at $3.42. And again, there's still a lot of potential for this card in the future. Moving fairly well at 57 a day on TCG Player, almost 5,300 that have sold over the past 3 months. Not too much of a premium if you have more than a playset, but Dragapult EX, definitely a card that you don't want to be sitting on a bunch of extra copies of when you could be utilizing it to grow your collection. Same thing with Goldango or Goldengo, however you want to pronounce it. 16 being sold on a daily basis on TCG Player, about 2,900 that have sold over the past 6 months. That coin bonus is a very good ability when you combine it with its Make It Rain. The consistency of the deck is fairly strong. It's not great, but fairly strong enough to be competitive right now. And it's moving up. It's grown about 127% over the past 6 months, with most of that happening over the past few months as it becomes more and more competitive. So Goldengo EX, definitely one that you want to make sure you're not sitting on a bunch of extra copies of. And then there's a lot of other cards as well, and this is just, we're going to rifle through these very quick. There's different formats in competitive Pokemon. Not all of them are obviously sanctioned. You have the standard format, which is based off of rotation and based off of the block that is signified by the letter in the bottom left-hand corner of the card. So all these cards right here are currently available in standard format. Some of these will rotate out in like February, March, once we hit rotation and we move into the next cycle of the Pokemon trading card game. Pretty much all yellow bordered cards will move out of standard format, and then they will move into expanded format, which really isn't the sanctioned format that they have competitive events for that you can at least earn points for. But they do have competitive events every once in a while that feature expanded cards. And then they have another format called Gym Leader Challenge, or the GLC, which a lot of people really enjoy playing, and that usually takes place online or on the second day of a regional event. A lot of times tournament organizers will run a GLC format tournament where people can play and they can earn prizes and things like that, and it's just a very, very loved format for a lot of competitive players. But they need access to a lot of older cards as well, cards that have already rotated out. You can only play a singular copy of each card in your deck. You can't use a playset, but still gives a lot of room for growth for a lot of older trainer cards as well. So we're going to rifle through these pretty quick. Earthen Vessel has fallen quite a bit, and the reason behind that is because it was printed in the most recent trainer toolkit, so there was a lot more copies that hit the market. It's still about $2.77, and this isn't going to grow you into a millionaire or anything like that, but a couple bucks here, a couple bucks there, that's obviously going to add value to your collection. Then you can start trading that off for booster packs, store credit, things like that. Night Stretcher from Shrouded Fable, this one continues to climb. It's a very strong card, up to $1.86. Buddy Buddy Poffin, despite the fact that this has been produced quite a bit, still sitting there at $1.50. Pokestop from Pokemon Go, this one is up to $3.24 per copy. This one will rotate out once we hit the next rotation period, so it's really time that you want to sort through your bulk right now and get rid of those extra copies before it falls to a 5-10 cent card. Then you have both Arvins from both Scarlet and Violet base and Obsidian Flames sitting there between $1.30 and $2.44. Double Turbo Energy has started doing a little bit of an uptick, still about 64 cents, so not a lot, but a lot of copies moving on a daily basis, which is causing that price, that market price, to grow and grow. Counter Catcher from Paradox Rift, you're looking at about $1 for that card, and then you've got a whole slew of additional ones right here. So Switch Card from Astral Radiance, that one's going to rotate out, but that one's still sitting at $1.40. Pokegear 3.0 sitting there for at about $1 right now from Scarlet and Violet base set, doing extremely well. That card was basically 20 cents a couple months ago, and it has just continued to explode in price. Floatstone is a very big card in GLC, lets you retreat your Pokemon basically for free. $5.40 for a market price on that one. Via Seeker, letting you search your discard pile for a supporter card. That one's up to $4.57. The Guzma and Hala has fallen a little bit, but still doing extremely well at $5.12. You also have prize pack cards with the prize pack stamp Don't even get me started on those. Those are ridiculous prices on some of those. $3.01 for that one, for the Earthen Vessel with the prize pack stamp. Jet Energy sitting there at 36 cents right now. Obviously, we just had the secret rare Jet Energy release. Jet Energy, lots of copies available, starting to climb a little bit, starting to move really well, but Jet Energy not doing as well as it used to when Lost Box was kind of a big thing in competitive play. Professor Sata's Vitality doing pretty well. Here's the prize pack Arvin over here sitting at $1.75. Guzma from Burning Shadows, letting you switch your active with a bench Pokemon and your opponent switch their active with their bench Pokemon that you get to basically decide. Then you've got those Cosmos energies, the holographic energies from 151. If you're sitting on extra copies of those are basically $1 a piece. Bravery Charm, you can't see it because my face is in the way. That one's selling for about 41 cents right now. Those were in a lot of build and battle decks as well. Then we've got Battle Compressor over here from Phantom Forces, $2.83, giving you the ability to search through your deck, discard up to 3 cards to put them into your discard pile. Chorus increases consistency of the deck. Another card that's going to be really good in GLC. You're looking at about $4.58 on that one. U-Turn Board has really exploded. This one's from Unified Minds. That's up to $4.25. Teammates from Primal Clash is up to $3.05. Another big card in GLC. Same thing with Double Dragon Energy at about $3.24. Trainer's Mail, looking at your cards to look for specific item cards and being able to increase consistency in your deck. $2.36 on that one. Muscle Band, being able to add damage output from your active Pokemon. That one's up to $3.05. Super Rod at $1.81. This is in competitive play right now in standard format. This one is from Breakthrough, however, so this is not the one from Paldea Evolved. Town Map, being able to look at your prize cards to let you help figure out which one you might need. $3.94 on that one from XY Breakthrough. Then we've got Dive Ball from Primal Clash. That one's at $1.63. Mysterious Treasure. I remember when this one was huge in competitive play with Naganadel, with Malamar. $1.69 on that one right now. Hex Maniac from Ancient Origins is up to $2.02. Cynthia and Caitlin from Cosmic Eclipse is up to $1.47. Field Blower from Guardians Rising, getting rid of tool cards. $1 a piece on that one. Hypnotoxic Laser, being able to poison your opponent's Pokemon and then flip for sleep as well. $2.20 on that one. Mystery Energy from Phantom Forces is up to $3.53. You have Bridget from Breakthrough, up to $2.66. Dark Claw, because dark Pokemon are a big thing in GLC, up to $4.51. And that's all the ones that we're going to go through as far as trainer cards go. But there's a lot of them that you might have sitting around your bulk cards that are worth a decent amount, and moving off of them is really something that you want to do to help grow your collection. Here's a fee breakdown of 2 different websites that you can use to kind of sell your cards. And if you don't want to sell cards, like I said, then you don't have to. Like, this is just an option of something that's available for you. And obviously there's other places too. You can sell on Mercari, you can sell on other outlets that are out there where the fees might be a little bit more attractive. If you look on TCG Player, it does get a little bit expensive, and this is without shipping costs included. So you're looking at about 10.25% of your sale is going to go to TCG Player. About 2.5% of your sale is going to go to either the PayPal fee or the credit card fee, and then they give you an additional fee of 30 cents on top of it. So if you sell a singular copy of, let's say, this Super Rod here at $1.81, you're looking at about $1.20 in fees right away, not including shipping. Now the good thing is TCG Player does require the buyer to pay an additional $1.25 or something like that for shipping costs if the order is below $5. So you do want to be careful with that. Same thing with eBay. You're looking at about 13% fees. You get a per order fee of 30 cents for under $10, 40 cents for over $10, and you get additional fees too. They have insertion fees. They have, if you want to add extra pictures, if you want to add extra jazz, like it's going to cost you a little bit more money. You get a certain amount of free listings on a monthly basis. So it's not always going to be the best option to sell on these websites. A lot of times the best option is going to be to go to your local game store or talk to somebody on Discord or Facebook or somewhere where there are competitive players, and maybe take 75-80% of the value of some of these cards, so that way you can get as much value as you possibly can without having to worry about all these extra fees for selling something out. But don't just sit on them. Don't just let them sit there and collect dust, because that's not doing anything to help grow your collection. Obviously the goal is to do what you can to make your collection grow, bring down that average pack price, or the price of any card or any product that you might be going after. Bring that as cheap as you possibly can. So I hope you enjoyed the data. If you did, please hit that subscribe button down below, leave a like, leave a comment. It goes a long way for the algorithm. Make sure to join us on Discord. I'll leave that link in the description below, as well as the link for Terrestrial Festival. Thank you so much for everything. I love you guys. We'll be back tomorrow with some Surging Sparks content. Till next time, peace!